everybody, this is Bob the Giacomo of Intentional Growth Coaching and Destiny Road. Remember, change the plan, not the goal. You're only one step away. And welcome to another Intentional Growth Coaching broadcast. Today's broadcast is entitled A Boy Named Billy from Syosset. Now, every once in a while, I come across a story that is not just a story, but a great story with a great message. And when it is a story that originated in my hometown, how could I not tell it? I would also like to give a shout out to a former schoolmate and fellow Syosseter, Tom Montalbano, for bringing this story to my attention, allowing me to share it with you today. I'm sure that once you hear this story, you'll feel as I do that we are all special, no matter the circumstances. So where's my hometown located, you may be asking? Well, I'm from Syosset, Woodbury, New York, which is located on Long Island. Now, we don't live in Long Island, we live on Long Island, and you're probably hearing my Long Island accent coming out just a little bit. So the story originates long before Syosset Woodbury could boast about other homegrown celebrities like Natalie Portman, Judd Apatow, Idina Marzel, and others. This is a story about Billy Schulman. Billy was born on August 19th in Syosset back in the year 1955. And he did grow up in Woodbury and attended Harry B. Thompson Junior High School, the very same junior high school I attended. But as Billy was born in 1955 and me in 1954, he would have been a grade below me. And I say this because I never knew Billy back then. You see, he attended special ed or special education classes. We used to call it special ed. That's what it was called back in those days. Now, back in those days, there wasn't the Hallmark channels that many of you may be accustomed to today. Instead, there was what was known as the Hallmark Hall of Fame. And they decided to make a movie about special needs children. And this is where Billy came in. And of the 40 or so youngsters recommended by the National Association for Retarded Children, yes, they used that word back in the day as well, Billy was ultimately selected for the part based on his ability to either show his emotions, register his emotions, either appropriately happy or appropriately sad, and also to understand that he was going to be pretending to be someone else. Now, this was obviously a tall order for any kid of that age, let alone one with special needs. And thus the movie Teacher, Teacher was made with stars Ossie Davis and David McCallum. Now, you may remember David McCallum, for those of you back again from my day, when he starred in the TV show Man from U.N.C.L.E. But for you younger generational people, you probably know him as the Doctor from NCIS. Teacher, Teacher tells the fictional story of Freddie Putnam, a mentally challenged 13-year-old struggling to learn to read and write. The essence of the story is that a person with limited mental capacity, through opportunity, patience, love, and understanding, can be taught to lead a useful life. And as a matter of fact, real life Billy had just learned to read and write himself just the year before he was actually cast to play Freddie. Now, David McCallum played the role as a teacher trying to get his life back on track and accepts a job as a tutor for a mentally retarded youth named Freddie. Ossie Davis is the jack of all trades for the youth's father. Now, while McCallum's character struggles to teach Freddie, Davis takes a different approach towards the boy, and the boy learns a number of things from him. Not to be outdone, Billy's mom, Sandra Schulman, worked and rehearsed with Billy each and every day, morning and night, to help him with his retention of learning his part. And as a matter of fact, he even learned how to use a trampoline, which would be used in the film. Now, Billy had never been on one before and was totally terrified when he first saw it. Teacher Teacher was first broadcast on February 5th, 1969, and was an outstanding success. Now, you may or may not realize, again, I'm going back in time, I've been around for 2 centuries, that there were a number of things going on in 1969. You had the New York Mets and the New York Jets both winning the World Championships. And you had the moon landing back in 1969. And yes, there were even demonstrations and riots because of the Vietnam War. But Teacher Teacher happened in February before all of these other things happened. And as I say, it was an outstanding success. The movie won an Emmy for Best Dramatic Show, and Billy was awarded a special Emmy as the critics cheered his breathtaking and almost unbelievable moving performance. Not bad for a kid with special needs. 4 years after Teacher Teacher, 18-year-old Billy and his family moved to Florida, where he continued to attend school until he was 21. At which time he went to work for Goodwill Industries. I know a lot of you know the awesome good that Goodwill Industries does. They collect things that we don't want anymore, and they provide them to needy families. Goodwill. It was a job that required him to take 2 buses in each direction every day. And after 9 years at Goodwill, Billy was making great strides toward independence, having made many friends and having taken special interest in sports and current events. But tragically, however, one morning in October of 1986, he was struck by 2 vehicles as he tried to cross a road in Florida. 31-year-old Billy died at a nearby hospital later that morning, and there were hundreds who attended his funeral a few days later. Now, I find that many filmmakers of the 1960s had aspirations of telling stories that made viewers think about the human conditions and social issues that needed closer examination. These films help mobilize people to some degree to change in action or thought about many of the issues of the day. And I think Teacher Teacher, as with To Sir with Love and Up the Down Staircase as some examples, are quality films that do well in addressing teaching, learning, and the conditions necessary to make learning, to help make learning possible. In 1987, Goodwill introduced the Billy Shulman Award, and in 1996 unveiled Billy's House, a group home where disabled people learn life skills to help them achieve independence. Teacher Teacher has never been released on video or DVD, but the film does continue to attract a following on YouTube. So you should be able to find this on YouTube. Hint, hint. And other potential video sites that might have it. Teacher Teacher. 40 years later, Woodbury's Billy is still touching lives. Still touching lives. And you know, again, having been around for 2 centuries, and especially around the time that Billy lived, I can clearly see that I have seen many changes in both words and actions. We no longer look down or strangely at those who are and were different from us. We don't say mentally retarded, but rather refer to physically challenged as the state of being, or even not refer any words at all, but more of a complete acceptance. For in today's world, things that hindered or handicapped people basically have gone by the wayside due to the inventions and other tools that help these people fit right into the society that otherwise would have and have shunned them. So I ask you today to do a little thinking about where you are in your life, and how, when you see people with special needs, how you relate to them, whether you accept them, you look differently at them, etc. We today have a much more open mind to that. So in closing, and this is my call to action, does anybody out there have a Billy Shulman story they want to share? And if so, reach out to me at intentionalgrowth@icloud.com and let me know, and we can publish your stories up there. There are hundreds of stories. I used to remember a TV show that used to say there are hundreds of stories in the Naked City. They were referring to New York, of course. And again, I come from New York. I come from Long Island. And I'm from Syosset. We don't come any prouder. But again, this is a story all about a kid who, although he was challenged physically and mentally, rose to the top just like the cream rises to the top of the milk, and made a life for himself and shared that joy and happiness with others. Until next time, this is Bob DiGiacomo of Intentional Growth Coaching and Destiny Road. And remember, don't change the goal, change the plan. You're only one step away. Bye-bye for now.